Hi, Jason Allen Griffin here. Today I'm going to read you another article from the Fitness Journal. And this particular article has no citation. Usually the articles cite the study and then give you a place where you can go to access more information or read the specific study itself. But this one, either it was left off or for whatever reason it's not cited. But just the details of the study are written down here in the article. So I'm sorry you won't be able to do any homework on this one, but it's still good information. And today I'm going to talk about stress. And unless you've been living under a rock, it should be no surprise to hear me say that stress can be dangerous. Now, we all have stress in our life, and in fact, without stress, you would die. You need stress to be alive. But many of us experience a high level of stress on an ongoing basis with no relief from it and have no way of dealing with it or coping with it. And that is when stress starts to become very dangerous. And now this study talks about attitude. Basically, how you deal with stress is another word for attitude. And this is a study that was done in Finland, and it interviewed over 2,800 adults between the ages of 52 and 76 and followed up with them over an 11-year average. And during that time, 121 of the subjects died from cardiovascular heart disease. And the scientists compared interview statistics with death rates and found that those who died of cardiovascular heart disease leaned toward pessimistic beliefs. And in fact, they say the most pessimistic of the subjects were 2.2 times more likely to die from cardiovascular heart disease than those in the first quartile of pessimism. So that's a fancy scientific way of saying that being a downer will kill you. But in all seriousness, they say that pessimism seems to be a substantial risk factor for death from cardiovascular heart disease, and in fact, it's an easily measurable variable. And it might be a very useful tool, together with the other known risk factors, to determine the risk of cardiovascular heart disease-induced mortality. So the takeaway from this article is to be more optimistic. Now, I'll share something about my personal experience with this. As an actor, I've learned that simply your face and your facial expression can affect your body, and not only your body, but your psyche and your emotional state. For example, if I were just to furrow my brow like this and then pull the edges of my face down like that, and then I stayed like this for an hour without changing anything else, eventually this facial expression will saturate my being, and I will suddenly start to feel how I look. My body and my system will take the cue from my face. And this has worked for me over and over again on stage, and I know that it's real. Go ahead and try it for yourself. If you stay like this long enough, you will start to feel crummy. But on the other hand, if you just lift up the sides of your mouth, and don't turn into a clown, but just add a little grin, and then imagine that there's a brightness in your eyes that will actually open and widen your eyes naturally. And then spend an hour like that, and you will notice that your system and your psyche and your body have been lifted by simply your facial expression. And this is a physical way that you can check how pessimism or optimism may change the chemistry in your body. Try it, it's real. So that's all I have for today. I hope that this brought a smile to your face and that it stays there.